Hello again, it's Larry Steinhouse, and this is the Larry Steinhouse Show. I am moving along, man. It's 2 o'clock. I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. Actually, I've been here since 6 o'clock this morning because we were getting prepared for the Coach-a-thon, and this is just great. I'm having such a good time. We're having just a great time here. We have such great people here, and I am so excited because I have the pleasure to have Ramsey Coulter in our studio today, and Ramsey talks about one of my favorite topics, which is credit repair. And Ramsey doesn't know that I went bankrupt 10 years ago, so we're going to talk about that too. And I'm going to talk about some of the things I did, but I also want to talk about some of the things that he does and how he helps people. So everybody, say hello to Ramsey. Why don't you wave to the audience? Go ahead, because everybody's waving back right now. I just want you to picture hundreds and hundreds and thousands of millions of people waving back to you.
Awesome.
Maybe one. I know that the guys in the other room, in the green room, they're all waving back to you right now. So it's all good. So tell me a little bit about credit repair. It's got to be one of the most misunderstood topics that I've ever discussed with people before. So tell me a little bit about what you do and why you do it.
Sure. So I own a credit restoration and education company with a huge emphasis on education because, just like you said, it is absolutely horrendous, the information that's out there revolving around credit repair, building credit, establishing credit. So that's what we like to focus on the most. We help people build credit, establish credit, repair credit, remove negative items, and recover from past hardships.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
What do you think of Credit Karma?
It's a tool.
Okay, good.
It's a good tool.
I'm glad you understand that because So I agree. I actually tell people all the time, look, it's just like a scale that's off 10 pounds, right? You still know you lost weight and you still know you gained weight, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter if the scale's off 10 pounds. And a lot of people will talk. Thank you, Ron. The audience is telling us you have to speak louder.
Oh, sure, I can speak louder.
There you go. Perfect. Thanks, Ron. but just so you know, yeah. And again, I find it funny that Credit Karma. A lot of people give bad press to Credit Karma. Right. Like, why would you do that? First of all, it's free. Right. So what's the worst happening? They give you information that's not completely correct. They give you information that's enough correct. Right. And I encourage everyone to get a Credit Karma account because it is free. Yep. Not that I have anything to do with Credit Karma. I could care less. It's just easier to have something and have some idea of what it is. I mean, I've always noticed my Credit Karma score now. Yeah. When you learn when you learn about how, and I'm going to tell you in a little while, some of the crazy things I do with credit. Sure. Like I'm trying to find out how many inquiries it takes to lower my credit score below 700, and I'm finding it's a very high number, by the way. Right. And people don't know this either. And again, I'm glad you understand this too. But again, so Credit Karma is not a horrible thing. So right. Besides knowing your credit score, what is the number one thing that people can do to get their credit restored?
Well, have credit. Obviously, there's all the Dave Ramsey people out there, and he gives amazing information about getting out of debt. He gives terrible information about credit, because he just wants everybody to pay cash for everything. So you have to have credit to have credit. So you need a credit card. You need to pay it on time. You need to keep the utilization very low. You just need to pay stuff on time. That's the most important factor for your credit is on-time payment history. And if you don't have anything reporting, you're missing out.
Yeah, I find it funny, so part of, we teach financial education, so we teach a broad range of financial education. We don't just specify in any one thing. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not true. I mean, obviously we do stock options and real estate. But the big thing, too, is, we help people with their credit report because it's part of what we're doing is we're trying to get people to have a better understanding of their life, of their financial life. And I always find it funny that they don't understand the basic concept of just paying their bills on time. Well, what do you mean? I paid them 2 payments this month. Why is that a problem? Oh boy! And it makes me laugh every time. It's like, how could you really not understand that you made an obligation to pay this payment on time, and you're not paying it?
Well, because nobody's taught, nobody. I mean, unless your parents actually teach you this, or an aunt or an uncle teach you about credit, you don't learn about it anywhere in our education system. Not even in business school or law school or anything like that. You don't learn about credit. I think the only thing I heard in business school was pay your bills on time. Oh, thanks. That's it. They don't tell you, oh, well, have multiple accounts, have diversity, keep super low utilization. They don't tell you, have more than one account. You want to have multiple accounts to have a good credit score. So it's lack of education. That's the huge part of it.
So tell me about credit utilization, because this is one of my favorite topics. I try to convince people of this all the time, and I know if it comes from you, they'll believe me. When it comes from me, they don't.
Yeah, sure. So the standard, rule of thumb out there is for credit utilization, you want to keep it below 30%. That's the standard rule of thumb, and that's great. Standard. We deal with people all the time getting mortgages. So, when they're going to get a mortgage, we tell them, if possible, depending on the situation, we want that utilization at about 5%. If you want to get the most points, which you definitely want to do when you're going to get a mortgage, you want to have about 1 to 5% credit utilization. For some people, that just might not be possible. If you have, $30,000 in credit cards, it doesn't make sense to pay $25,000 down to get to that percentage. I'm talking about somebody who has like 100 in available credit.
Sure.
But for somebody who has $1,000 in available credit, that's easy. Pay it down. It's pretty simple. And then they pay it off. And I said, no, you're not listening to what I said. Don't pay it off. You just lost a few points. You lost 5 points maybe. And so if you want the most points, you want to have a small balance. When you go to make a purchase, every other month of the year, you can absolutely pay them off and pay no interest. That's not a problem.
No, wait a minute. I'm a little confused, and I really am confused. So you're saying that if I have like a 5% balance, my credit score will go up versus having a 0. Okay. Yeah,
and it's cumulative, so it's all of your credit cards combined. So every single credit card can be paid off but one. You want to have one with 1% or 5% on it. So this is directly from FICO. I get training from FICO all the time. And according to FICO, if you have 0 balance, you lose points. So
what happens if you do what I do? And what I'm really doing this. I am experimenting with credit because I'm having fun. And understand. I don't need to go for a mortgage tomorrow, so I can do this. I also understand. I've actually played with this so much that I can make my credit score go from 600 to 800 in 3 months. Right. And I do it all the time just to prove it. People. But right, and that's exactly right, to show people. So but one of the things I was working on was I wanted to see how many inquiries I had to get my credit score up below 700. So take a guess at how many inquiries I'm at right now.
63.
Well, it's not that bad.
Okay.
But it's pretty bad. It's at 32 inquiries right now.
And they're all credit card applications?
They're all credit card. Okay. They're all credit card.
So individual, yeah.
Yeah, they're all credit card. So everybody right now is going, oh my God, your credit score, oh my God, it's probably 500. Well, I'm telling you, I'm trying to figure out how much I have to get below 700, and I'm telling you, it's not below 700 yet.
What did your score start at? That's the question.
Well, so my score started at 420.
No, I mean before the inquiry, before the 32 inquiries.
Oh, right. That's true. Right. I understand that question. Right. And again, so my story is I went bankrupt in 2008. I had a 420 credit score. Yep. And because you have a 420 credit score, you don't care about your credit score anymore, right? It's great to have a 420 credit score when you understand that now you can learn. Yeah. So I learned how to build my credit score. I built my credit score back up to 805. Actually, it was 813 was the highest I got it to before I started experimenting with it again. And I was bouncing between the 750 and 800 constantly. Exactly, right? See, this is the other thing I try to tell people. And what are your thoughts of this? I think that anything over 720, who cares?
740. I mean, 740 plus is you're getting the same rights on a mortgage if you have a 740 compared to an 850. So exactly, who cares? People who say, "Oh, I got an 848." I'm like, man, that sucks. You must have a really boring life. You don't do anything with your credit.
You need to come. You need to come to our classes because we have the same philosophy. I love it. I tell people it's time to trash your credit score if you have an 850 credit score.
Well, maybe not trash it.
Well, yeah, I know, but I bring it down like 100 points. Exactly right. And you want to bring it down 100 points, and the best way to bring it down 100 points is to apply for credit cards. Yeah. So here's the other question, right? And this question we ask this question often, which is, would you rather have $500,000 in available credit with a 500 credit score, or no available credit and an 800 credit score?
Right. Yeah, $500,000. Heck yeah.
Of course, right? So when I'm
So
sitting
much,
here and I'm
yeah.
doing what I'm doing, by the way, you know how much I have right now available in credit cards?
Couple 100,000.
How about 400, almost 450,000 now
Nice.
that I can access in credit cards, and
That's
I
a
have
lot.
a 712 credit score.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not true. My FICO score is actually 750 something. My Credit Karma credit score is 712 because it's funny because I use that as the indicator,
score, yeah.
and then I go because and do you maybe you even know this? Is there a faster way to get a FICO credit score than it is from like some of the banks? Like Discover gives me one, Wells Fargo gives me one,
Yeah.
but they don't update it fast enough. Where
Right.
Credit Karma updates it every week.
Yeah, you can pay for it.
Oh, is that okay? And that's
you can
fine.
go to
Maybe that's the answer.
myfico.com and you can
Okay.
pay if you choose to. You can pay for your credit score every day. Of course, that's very expensive because they're going to charge you $40, $50 every time you
Wow.
want to see it.
Wow.
But if you're paying $40 a month for most of your FICO scores, then it's worth it. It just depends. It depends on your goals. If your goal is just to monitor it and see have fun with it, great. You can pay for it
Right,
as much as you want.
Right, and well, I'm not going to do that. That's plain
Right.
silly.
Right.
But again, like I said before, the scale is off 10 pounds, but at least I know it's going up and going down,
Yeah.
and that's why I use the Credit Karma as my barometer.
And so I can tell you why Credit Karma is much lower because the algorithm for Vantage 3.0 scores, which is what Credit Karma uses, factors a lot heavier inquiries than FICO does. So FICO cares about inquiries 10%. It's 10%. That's all they care about. So you could apply for 100 credit cards. The most you could lose from the average FICO score, because there's tons of FICO scores, but the most you could lose is 55 points on a generic, because your credit score low could be 300, the high is 850. So 10% of 550 points is 55 points. That's
that
the
makes
most
sense.
you can
Sure.
lose.
That makes
That's
sense.
it. So
Right.
there's your answer. That's how many you can lose. So if you started at a 760, you will never get below a 700
Oh, so that's
on
interesting.
your experiment.
Oh, wow, I don't have to experiment anymore. I now have the answer. So what
There you
is the most amount of inquiries that you can have before you lose the 55 points?
I don't know that
Oh,
answer.
okay, that's fine.
and if we ask somebody at FICO, they say that's proprietary.
I'll bet it is.
They only give so much information. And then,
I wouldn't doubt if I'm close.
Yeah, probably. I mean, how short of a time period has it been?
I'm gonna well, according to Credit Karma, it's 2 years.
No. I mean, since you applied for the 30, like when was your first 30 of the 30 inquiries? Beginning of the year?
According to Credit Karma, it's over the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, because it's funny
Got it.
because you're right, because I'll look at FICO and FICO will say it's a lot less than 30,
Right.
Because they're looking over the last 6 months.
Well, yeah. So no, I mean, FICO, your credit inquiries will show for 2 years, but they're only factored into your FICO scores for 12 months.
Okay.
And typically after about 6 months, they're very minimal, maybe a point, maybe less. So it's not. That's when people call us and they're like, "Oh, do you remove inquiries?" Or, "Hey, we just went to the car dealership and we lost 80 points according to Credit Karma." I'm just like, yeah, no, we don't. What's the point? Were they fraudulent? Did you not apply for them? And they get all freaked out. Well, Credit Karma said I lost 80 points. It's impossible to lose in FICO more than 55 points for inquiries. And FICO does what is called deduping. And so if you have more than one auto inquiry within a certain time period, they give you a shopping window. They all count as one. And
Right,
so the
sure.
oldest version...
Isn't that 30 days? Or is it 30
there's
days?
different. There's 14 days, there's 30 days,
Okay.
and there's 45. So it depends on the FICO scoring model that the bank's using or that you're looking at. And so, yeah.
Very cool. So I remember years ago, when I was selling real estate often, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a broker, but I'm mostly I do investing now.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach people how to do investments. But I remember I had one woman who literally went to I think it was Kohl's, and they had the 10% off today if you get the
Yeah.
credit card.
So she opened up a bunch.
And she got her 10% off, and then she had to live in her apartment another 2 years. So because she had gotten this credit card,
Mm-hmm.
and she was within 5 points of being able to get a mortgage,
Okay.
and she knocked the 5 points off when she opened this Kohl's credit card.
Did she max it out at the same time?
It's possible. I really, you got
2 years, my God, it should be a couple months.
Well, whatever.
Right.
The point was she couldn't get her mortgage, so she was
And
supposed
so
to
she
close
gave
on
up,
30
and then
days
it
from
took
now.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she lost it. It was flat out lost it.
Mm.
So do you work together with mortgage companies? How
Oh, yeah.
do you get your clients?
Yeah. Mortgage companies are our best friend. Obviously, they see credit reports every day. They deny people every day, depending on their volume, and they're great. They're great referral sources for us. Absolutely. We do work with a lot of realtors too. We work with investors and stuff too, a few car dealerships and stuff. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, other than word of mouth, other than happy clients, yeah, mortgage lenders, they send us the most.
Yeah, and that's great because we'll probably help you with that too. Only because
awesome.
we have our guys come in here. Their investors come in here, and we counsel them on credit all the time. We help them build their credit score. But there are things I can't do. I mean, I can't teach them how to remove negative information. Although I'll tell you a great story about that. I had and again, for the people who have read my book or who know who I am, I had 14 foreclosures in 2008. That was because I sold the other properties to save the bad ones, and I couldn't save the bad ones anymore. So I finally had to let them go. I had something like 40-something properties, and by the time I was done, I had 14 foreclosures. But there's a point where I had to go bankrupt, and that was fine, and that was my credit score was 420. But it turned out when I went to apply for a mortgage on a house I was buying. Now I'm buying properties without mortgages for a while. Right. I'm buying with private lenders. I'm buying with subject to, so it didn't really matter to me. But finally, I'm ready to buy a property of my own, house to live in, and it turns out that one of the banks was reporting my credit was showing that that this mortgage hadn't been paid month after month after month after month after month.
Oh, so yeah.
And that's
a rolling late pay.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And we're talking about 4 or 5 years after a bankruptcy.
Yeah, that is highly illegal.
Exactly,
that is
right.
FCRA violation.
Exactly, and and I didn't know that. I didn't. First of all, I didn't even know it was illegal. I just assumed that it was okay to because I don't know what you don't know. You don't know, right? So I didn't know it was illegal. I just knew that that information was hurting me, right?
Right.
So how do I get this information fixed? Right. So what do? I do exactly what everyone tells you to do. I write a letter
to the bureau. Yep.
Yeah. No. I wrote to them, and so first thing I did was I disputed it, right? Mm-hmm. They wrote back and they go, no, they confirmed it.
They verified. Yep.
I'm like, oh, great. Now what do I do? So then I wrote another letter. I wrote a letter to the bank. Yep. And where that letter went, right?
In the trash.
Oh, of course, because that's typically where they go, right? Then I wrote a certified letter. You know where that letter went, right? In the trash, because no one cared. And and I really didn't know about guys like you at that time. And we're talking about 5 years ago. I really didn't know about guys like you, and it would have been great. I would have just paid you to do it.
Well, you could have had one of our FCRA attorneys do it for free and sue them and get you money and get it fixed. It wouldn't have gotten you into the house when you wanted to.
Right.
But
right, and my primary goal was to get into the house. And it's funny that you said that. It's interesting. I have to tell you what I eventually did. You're gonna love this. So Donna Sajula was here. She talks about LinkedIn. I went on LinkedIn and I looked up every single email I could find for that bank. The president, the vice president, the CEO, awesome. And I sent them all a LinkedIn letter that said, this is what's going on. And I got to tell you the funniest thing. My phone rang 9:05 the next morning, and I was promised it would be off in 24 hours, and it was.
And it was. Well, they were afraid of litigation. That's why.
Well, I'm sure they were, but at the same time, every time I called, every time I wrote a letter, you'd think they would do something. They didn't care. Yeah. But that was it. This was the point where I said, I'm done, and we're doing something about this now. And
that's
it
awesome.
worked.
No, that's awesome.
But it wasn't. But again, why would I have to do that? That's insanity. By the way, you got a bunch of people shouting out to you.
Awesome.
Andrew Beaver is saying that there's no better credit coach. And you know what? And I got to be honest with you. I don't know much about credit coaches. I do know that everything you're telling me is congruent with what I teach and what I believe. So awesome. I have to say that just in the brief time I've known you, I have to agree with him. Sarah Albright sent a heart. You must know her very well. She sent a heart.
She was our coach for delivering a baby. So yes.
Oh, see that? Yeah. I knew it. See, I knew it had to be a close relationship. That's cool. That's cool. So baby, when was this?
Which one?
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
It was like 6 years ago. The first one's 5.5. We got 5, 2.5, and one due in November. So
you got one due in November. Yeah. Cool. That's excellent. They going to come out with perfect credit?
Yeah, because they have no score. So no, they have terrible credit.
So my partner in investor schooling, Phil, he does something really cool. He took his son and he piggybacked him on a bunch of credit cards, which was absolutely brilliant. His son is 18 years old and has an 850 credit score.
Yeah, wow.
Who in the world is 18 years old with an 850 credit score? No one, right?
Somebody whose dad added them to 5 or 6, 7, 8 credit cards.
And that's it. So we got about 2 minutes. Why don't you talk about piggybacking real quick so people can understand how that works?
Sure. So if you have a friend or family member who has good credit, who has had a credit card open for a while, preferably 2 years or longer, and a high limit and a low balance. So not somebody with a shopping problem at Kohl's and they owe $1,500 out of $1,500. Somebody who owes $15 out of $15,000. They can add you for free, typically, as an authorized user, and then what you get is their last 2 years of payment history, which is why I said preferably 2 years. You get 24 months of on-time payment history thrown on your credit, and you get the age of credit, and you get their credit utilization. So that's, you just hit a ton of categories there. You got about 80% of your credit score, and that's why.
But oh my God, you're gonna your credit's terrible. You're gonna be on my credit card. Isn't that what the objection that
I've
people
had to
get?
talk to a lot of grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles. There's absolutely nothing that can harm the person who's adding you.
That's right.
There's absolutely nothing that can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And again, thanks for verifying that because, I tell people this all the time. And I say what you do is you tell them to get the credit card and shred it.
Right.
That way you can't use it.
Yeah. Well, Discover, I mean, I've had a few people to my Discover card. They ask you, do you want us to mail you a card? No, I don't.
Oh, I didn't even know you can do that.
Some credit card companies will ask you.
That's interesting. I didn't even know you could. That's awesome.
And let me reiterate, the only time it could ever happen where somebody's negative credit shows up on yours, if it's a junior senior, but that's this mixed merge file. It's not because you're adding them as an authorized user. So I had to clarify that because there are rare cases where that does happen.
Yeah. So the worst thing you can do is name your kid after yourself.
Yeah, like I did.
The guy teaches this stuff, and what does he do? He makes a classic mistake. So how can people get a hold of you?
Oh yeah, sure. They can call our office 610-350-4683. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Coulter Credit, COULTER Credit. Website coultercredit.com. Call for a free consultation to see what's going on with your credit.
That's awesome, man. And I thank you so much. I'm so excited you came today.
Yep.
I'm so excited you verified everything I said. So now when I tell people, see, even he believes me. Even he says it.
Yep.
And that's
awesome.
cool. And we also will probably send some people over to you because I got some people that need to have this stuff. Oh, real quick. Awesome. 1 minute. Credit counseling. Credit repair. Not credit repair company. The people who pay off your debt. What are they? Credit counseling companies, right?
Debt settlement?
Yeah. Well, not debt settlement. The ones who go credit counseling companies. What do you think of them?
Credit counseling is different than credit repair. So credit repair helps you repair and build your credit. Credit counseling helps you negotiate lower interest rates with the credit card company. So if you call your bank, they'll say, well, we can send you to credit counseling. That is not the same thing at all, and they're affiliated with each other. That's why they send you.
Yeah, of course.
So it's completely different.
Right. And you're not going to say it, so I will. I'm not a big fan. I think they rip people off. I think they charge them $25 or $30, $40 a month, and they take that money until you run out of money, and they say, oh, well, thank you very much for sending us 12 months of payments, and we, the credit card company gave us money, you gave us money, and you're still in the same place you were 12 months ago. You should have went bankrupt then.
Yeah. Well, and if they're a real credit counseling company, they're supposed to go over that type of stuff, pre-bankruptcy. Yep.
Exactly. All right, cool.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for coming in. Wave goodbye to everybody.
Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
You're awesome, man. Thank you.